All right, y'all. Welcome back to the Lions Den podcast. Today, I'm gonna be going over my experience in the Ouachita National Forest, and honestly, the experience was truly just surreal. It was a 4-day hike with some people from my school and some teachers, and yeah, I'm just gonna be talking about that. So, as soon as I walked into the forest, there was like a sense of peace that blew over me. The first few miles are truly the best because as you walk, the wind blows in your face, and the trees blow, and the birds chirp, and it feels like an authentic new experience. The second day was just as peaceful as the first, but it still had its own challenges. We had to walk up 5 steep hills, which may not seem like a lot, but with a 30-pound backpack on, it is. And though always felt rewarding to get to the top of each peak, it was truly like nothing I've ever experienced. Specifically, reaching the second to last hill, because it was not only the hardest, but it was the peak that we watched the solar eclipse on. Just seeing the autumn leaves and rolling hills for miles while the sky turned dark was enough to make me appreciate the world I live in. As the moon covered the sun, it started to go quiet, and all you could see and hear was the whistling of the wind and the crickets chirp. It was so peaceful at the top. We took a good long break, simply enjoying the view, especially knowing that we might not experience it for a while. Nighttime was just as scenic as well, because once the forest went dark, the stars began dancing in the sky, and all you could see above you were thousands of glowing lights, and some blinking, some shining. It was also great to enjoy taking in the stars with some friends, especially since it was my first time seeing the sky with no light pollution. The fellowship gained from this hike is something that I personally haven't experienced, and it was moving. From having to help my group and others wade across streams and rivers to working together to set up a tent and cook food, we were forced to work as a team, which naturally brought us all together. I remember walking up the hills and hearing my group talking about some goofy TikTok dance and making us laugh and keeping morale as we hiked. It was also a nice experience watching the solar eclipse with my friend, Josiah, and just joking around. During the hike, I also learned that Justin could play the flute and that Mr. Womack is a pretty good storyteller. I learned that Josiah had a fear of spiders, which he had to overcome with the amount of daddy longlegs that were in our tent, and that Quincy, Briggs, and Lewis and Chaz shared an appreciation for nature, and also that Sam disliked hiking a lot, which just goes to show how much you can learn just by spending some time with some people. But the hike, unfortunately, wasn't all taking in views and laughing with friends. There were some rough days during it too. At the end of the second day, my feet started to hurt, which was an unwanted reminder that getting through the hike without sacrifice. Though I didn't have it as bad as a kid named Ty, because he hurt his ankle 30 minutes into the hike, which made it a mystery to how he finished the hike. But anyway, once I stood up on the third day, I was almost relying on my hiking stick for support. The pain in my feet was bearable while just standing, but walking was a whole nother story. Eventually, I simply stopped thinking about my feet so as to focus on my hike and deal with the pain. Wading through the streams and rivers was my personal favorite part, the part that I enjoyed the most. Mainly because the cold water would numb my feet, letting me walk pain-free for an hour or so. The worst part was having to go over this small, narrow path because right below was a 20-foot fall onto some rocks, and you had to contort your feet to stay on the path. Though I did enjoy seeing the stream right next to the rocks, which made a little area where you could swim if you wanted to. The last day had to be the most discomforting, though, because this was the first day that it rained on us, and it rained for the entire hike until the last 30 minutes of it. But nobody complained the whole time, which helped us to not get discouraged. Once we finally reached the cars, I was happy that we were finally heading home, though I would definitely do it again without a backpack. But I would like to encourage anyone who wants to experience something new and get away from modern lifestyle to go on a hike. Whether it's with friends or by yourself, it's still an enjoyable experience, and I personally would like to do it again by myself and with some music because of how peaceful it was. I hope you enjoyed hearing about my trip, and I hope that you can go on your own sometime soon. Thank you for listening to the Lions Den podcast. This is your host, Sam, and I'll catch you on the next one.